I'm Fredric Aasbø, little kid from Norway that is now a global Toyota ambassador. I drift in Japan, I drift in the States, I drift across Europe, and now we're here at Millbrook Test Facility doing a pretty epic shoot.
My name's Eric. I work with the 86X, that is, or Jane. That is our car, or Freddie's European car. I met Freddie 10 years ago, and well, doing car stuff, actually. Ice driving and all that stuff. And then one late October night, he called me and asked if I wanted to wrench on his 86X. So I was like, yeah, why not?
When I first heard the idea, what we're gonna do here, I was like, no way.
Freddie called up and said he wanted to do a gig in the UK, and I was like, yeah, okay, what's that?
So the mad guys behind this, they had the idea of replicating the Toyota GT86 logo on the ground with skid marks and then shooting it from a satellite.
I was like, really? That's a pretty sick idea.
And I was like, is this real life? And then I said, heck yeah, let's do it. Even though I'm used to drifting my 86, I'm not used to using my car as a paintbrush. We set about putting tire marks down. And then it was a learning process for me because it was about getting the geometry right. It was about getting the right flicks in the right places. It was about looking at the drone shots, seeing if we were on the right track. So there was a lot of back and forth, evaluating what's going on, and then at the very end, I let loose and finished up the drawing.
Okay guys, action!
Growing up, I was your normal kid out of a little town 20 minutes south of Oslo, and I thought that was the center of the world. And then internet came about. I discovered drifting. I saw a legend named Katsuhiro Ueo drift a Toyota Corolla AE86 up a Japanese mountain road, a toge, and I was sold right there and then. I knew that drifting was my calling, so I set about devoting my life to drifting. I built a really basic car with my friends, took my scholarship from school, spent about 7,000 pounds building this really basic competition car. And then I grew with the sport.
Do you want me to try and run on the inside a little bit more?
Became Rookie of the Year in 2010, got a factory deal, and then 2 years ago in 2015, we won the Formula Drift Championship.
Freddie started this build for about 3 years before I took over. So I stripped everything back down to like bare shell and built her back up with new front suspension, new rear suspension, new gearbox, new engine, and new ECU unit for the engine management. The GT86 is a good car to begin with because it has all the right geometry compared to wheelbase and how the suspension setup is and stuff. Because of the Boxer engine, it has a quite large engine bay, so it's quite, and the Boxer engine is quite low sitting, and so you get low weight ratio there. So it's a good balanced car as well from stock from Japan. So they did a really good job of making and tweaking the chassis to make it right and stiff enough so you can have fun with it.
I'm attracted to drifting because it's the art of controlling a car that's essentially out of control. And growing up, I was watching the heroes, the F1 drivers, the rallycross drivers, and I wasn't always into the guys that won. I was into the guys that had the most control over the car, especially when things went really wrong. And that is what drifting is.
You're just moving weight from one side to the other. That's how you actually do it. You're shifting the weight of the car from the one side to the other, and it will give you the pendulum effect. Lucky as I am, I'm a born Viking, and we're just born with it to doing a Scandinavian flick.
The highlight of the shoot was definitely heading up to the Alpine road. I finally got to unleash the 800 horsepower to the ground out of my 86. It's one of those places that you can really push the bar and you can really go from track edge to track edge and jump over crests, and being allowed to let loose at the mountain road here definitely unleashed the inner child. This has been an epic shoot, and from here on I'm going to Hong Kong, I'm going back to Texas, then we have our finals in LA, but the highlight of the year is definitely going to be this piece we shot here at Millbrook.